What's going on, everyone? This is Gaffney for the United Devils, and welcome to my match reaction and player ratings for the game we've just played against West Ham at the London Stadium. In some ways, this is similar to our last Premier League game where we were away to Southampton, as I'm sure you'll remember. We were 2-0 down at half-time against Southampton, and we came back and won 3-2. And this game wasn't much different at half-time. It was probably worse. Obviously, the score wasn't as bad, so we had less to come back from. But the way we played was definitely better than if we were just talking about first halves. Against Southampton, it was better, even though we were 2-0 down. Obviously, we conceded a goal from a set-piece. It's a corner. It's zonal marking again. When are we actually going to learn that zonal marking is not the way forward? How many goals do we need to concede until they realise that zonal marking is just not going to work? It's awful. And it makes our defenders look bad as well, which they were and have been, but it makes them look worse. So yeah, we conceded the goal. I don't know how long into the game it was, but you know, West Ham battered us for the whole first half. They just pressed us, and it's just our weakness, and I'm sure Moyes picked up on that and he told that to his players. First half was awful. We played worse against Southampton. We had like no chances. And then at half time, obviously Bruno Fernandes was dropped. Bruno and Rashford come on for Van der Beek and Cavani, and I was very annoyed at that as well. I didn't say Ollie out, but in the moment I felt like it, just like I did last weekend. But you've got to wait for the result, and in the end we came back and won it. So there's that, but you know, I didn't agree with the substitutions made at half time. I thought Van der Beek is press resistant. He would have been better for this game, so I would have took either McTominay or Pogba off. But, you know, what Ollie done, you know, it sort of worked in the end and we won the game, so there's not a lot more you can say. As for Cavani, I would have took Martial off, just because his head's not in the right place at the moment. He needs to get back into the right mindset. Obviously, he's a striker and his confidence is low, so I think he should have been taken off, but, you know, he stayed on and got injured. And yeah, obviously Bruno was always going to make an impact on the game. Him and Rashford did. If those two subs aren't made, then we don't win the game. Bruno deserved more than just one assist that he got today. Great balls through to Martial and Rashford where he should have scored. But he just comes away with one assist, so I suppose it's better than nothing. Greenwood's goal was world class. That finish was quality. Rashford's was as well, and obviously the Pogba goal was, you know, fantastic, trademark Paul Pogba sort of goal, isn't it? So yeah, we won the game 3-1. I'm not as positive as some of you might be because I'm not fooled by that first half performance. It's like the last few games at United, well, not the last few games, just the last while, you know, you could even say 6 months. I feel like in some games we have like a 20-minute, 25-minute, maybe 30-minute rush in a game where we start attacking, getting loads of chances and scoring goals. It's like a rush, and a lot of the time that's where we score and stuff. And this was the case in this game. It was the case against Southampton, and other games. I can't think off the top of my head right now, but we have these little rushes and these periods of time where we do well and score and create a lot of chances, and like that's you know, the first half just, it's nothing. It's terrible. Weak against the press, but it's like we get that bit of confidence and we do better. You know, there is positives to take away because this side is more than capable of coming back, and Ollie's shown that, which is a good, but we can't keep doing stuff like that in the first half because there'll be teams like City and Liverpool or even Chelsea or like Spurs did. If we give in that first half, some teams will put 3, 4, 5, 6 past us, and there's no coming back from that. Yeah, so the scoreline isn't reflective of the game at all because West Ham had more chances in that first half than we did, I think. So I'm going to get straight into the player ratings. Obviously, Dean Henderson started in goal today. Very good performance. Distribution was good from him for that first goal. West Ham tried to appeal it being out, but there was no way of measuring it, and it stood. Great distribution, great saves. I don't think there was a lot he could have done about the first goal. And it's an 8 for me. I think that Henderson offers more in terms of distribution than De Gea, and he's a good shot stopper as well. So I'll give Henderson an 8. That's a very strong goalkeeping performance. Maybe you could say a 7 or something, but just for that distribution as well, you have to give him an 8 for me. Wan-Bissaka, a bit quieter in the second half, but that first half he was our only good player. If he doesn't make that amazing world-class slide tackle that he did, West Ham make it 2-0, and the game's harder to come back from. So for that reason, I'll give Wan-Bissaka an 8, because that challenge changed the game. And he was just solid. There was some, he stopped crosses well and stuff. So I'd give him an 8. Maguire and Lindelof, I think in the second half they were a bit better. In terms of, obviously, other than the set piece, the corner, aerially quite good, but they weren't the best. But they didn't have a awful stinker of a game. So I'd probably say 5s for Lindelof and Maguire. You could say a 6 because of how they were in the second half, but they were just weak. I never ever feel comfortable with Lindelof and Maguire on the ball, so I'll give them 5s, and I didn't today. Tejas, I'll give a 5. His worst game for us so far, but he's still adjusting into the Premier League. But Jarrod Bowen was, he had him on toast today. He was running up at the right hand side loads, but Tejas is an attacking fullback. I tweeted out, Shaw can't put crosses in, but he doesn't get skinned like that, and he doesn't get caught like that. Bowen could have had a hat-trick in that game. He was dangerous, but Bowen was really good, to be fair. So I'd give Tejas a 5, and he got an assist, and his attacking he was quite good. So that's the back 4. Scott McTominay, he actually had a pretty good game. I didn't agree with picking him, and he probably should have been taken off, but he had a good game. Physical, winning the ball, and his passing, he was passing forward and it was actually okay, but there was some poor bits in there. I'll probably give McTominay a 6. Paul Pogba, this is a funny one, because he was sort of good but not good in the first half, and he was deep. He was passing the ball about okay. He obviously scored a world-class goal, but he was poor at points as well. He gave the ball away a lot. I'm probably giving him a 6 as well. Who did we start on the... We started Greenwood. Really, well, he was quite poor in the first half, but that goal was world class. That finish was quality. So, how do you judge a player when he's been really poor but really good? I think you have to give him an average. I think you have to give him, because of the world class goal, I give Greenwood a 7. Cavani, nothing to do in the game. I mean, he tried a back heel or something and it didn't work. He probably touched the ball least out of everyone on that pitch. I'd give him a 5, maybe a 4. I'll say 5 because he didn't have a lot to do, but he didn't have many opportunities. Didn't miss any opportunities. Martial, for me, has to be a 4. I think Martial is just a low confidence player at the moment, and he will get it back, but he just didn't. He wasn't at the races today. Van der Beek, I thought was pretty. He didn't have his best game, to be fair. I'd probably give Van der Beek a 5, probably his worst performance for us, but I still would have kept him on because he's a better player. It's hard for him to play when everyone else around him is playing well. If Van der Beek plays in that second half, Van der Beek probably gets a 7 or an 8. So that's the starting 11, I believe. Bruno has to be an 8.5 or an 8. He deserved more than just the 1 assist. Some of that passing and the change in the game, just quality. We don't win that game if Bruno doesn't come on. So for me, Bruno has to get an 8. You could even argue 9 if he gets the other assist for Rashford and for Greenwood. Who else did we have? Rashford changed the game when he came on. 7. Probably should have scored when he hit the post from the Bruno Fernandes ball, but it is what it is. He did offer a lot when he came on, and we looked deadlier with Rashford on, his pace in behind, for the second and third goal. Well, it was Greenwood who got the second, but he was still attacking, and he was dangerous. And he was the last one. Mata, It was actually a really good ball from Mata to Rashford, but other than that, just didn't offer a lot. He's not the player he used to be. But I think Ollie had to bring him on in that situation when Martial got injured. So I'll give Mata a 6 because the ball was fantastic, but other than that, it was quite poor. Now that I think about it, looking back at them ratings that I've given, they're actually quite high, but it's just difficult because we were so good at some points. But if you're judging it all off the first half, everyone gets 5s and 4s, and the second half they're probably 7s and 8s. Maybe someone like Greenwood I could give a lower one, but it is what it is. I have to give it off what I've just watched the game. I might be biased because we turned around and won it and we were brilliant, but it is what it is. So we've got a big game coming up in the Champions League, and we draw, we go through, we win, we go through, but if we lose, we will be back in the Europa League. Probably why Bruno was rested and he's only played 45 minutes tonight, but we'll see what happens. This is a big game coming up. We're currently in 4th place, I believe, and we're 2 points off the top of the league. So we're lucky to be in that position, but nonetheless, it is what it is. So I think that's going to do it for this one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at GaffneyH02, and I'll see you in the next one.